I want to get Marc Jackson's take on the Celtics, Isaiah Thomas, and flip it on the other side, John Wall and the Wizards. Pete, we did the poll question about a week ago before the playoffs started and asked which team had the best chance to knock off the Cavs. Many of our listeners thought it was
the Wizards.
The Wizards. But Marc Jackson, they're down 0-2 tonight. But I got to get your take, my friend, on the outer body experience that we are watching from Isaiah Thomas. This guy has been – he's on another level come playoff time. The playoffs are about elevating. He took his game to another level.
Isaiah Thomas is playing tremendous basketball, especially with the burden of his sister passing weighing heavily on his heart. You know, I don't know, respectfully, if something happened to my brother, I don't know if I'll be able to play a basketball game that close to the event happening. That's just – I don't know. Sometimes when you're on the court, you know, your body just takes over, your mind just takes over, and it helps when your body follows. But to be able to fight through that's got to be very difficult. Isaiah Thomas being 5'9", even though he's strong as an ox, his height compared to them NBA Giants, he's just leading his team to a two-game lead against the Washington Wizards.
The game he played, and specifically, Marc, what's big about him is that he's one of them guys that can be 3 for 15 from the field, and then in the fourth quarter, he takes his game to another level. It's almost like that 3 for 15 never happened. Without him in the fourth quarter the other night, without him in this series, the Wizards are probably up 2 games to none. He single-handedly brought his team back in the fourth quarter in Game 2.
Yes, he did. You know, what you just said is very interesting. He would be 3 for 15, didn't score all them points in bunches. Young players need to take note. The reason why he's able to do that is because he does not rely on just standing outside the arc shooting threes. And he's 5'9". Do the math. He's 5'9" when the average NBA player is 6'8". The average NBA player is 6'8". He's 5'9", able to score at will. And the reason why he's able to go through a shooting slump for a couple of quarters and then pull out of it is because he finishes in the paint. He absorbs contact. He doesn't rely on, well, I'm small, so let me stand out here and shoot a bunch of threes. Isaiah Thomas is far from that type of player. Now that all the little kids out there trying to stand outside the arc just jack up threes, he's able to shoot and hit open shots, but he's not afraid to get to the rim and hit those floaters and get the N1 over guys. That's why he's so effective.
Hey, we're talking with Marc Jackson, Sixers pre- and post-game live, of course, former NBA center in the league for a while. And, Marc, is that the difference right now in the series? Thomas, I watched that game. Wall playing out of his mind, 40 points, 13 assists. That had never been done. Those numbers had never been up. But I thought in the fourth quarter and overtime he was settling for shots where Thomas was taking the ball, getting fouled, getting the old-fashioned three-point plays. I thought that was really the difference between those two stars.
Both of those two stars did. First of all, they both played great. They both tried to lead their team. But Isaiah he kept the defense backpedaling. You know, as I teach young kids now and teach athletes now, don't, like I just said a few minutes ago, if you can always attack the defense, you can always have on the heels good things that happen. But once you stepping back, relying on open shots, three-pointers, well, he's giving me these open shot three-pointers, let me shoot them. They give them to you for a reason because they don't want you to get to the basket. They don't want you to force contact to draw fouls to get N1s because it puts them in harm's way. It stops the clock. It stops the bleeding. And it's like body blows and fighting. If you work a guy's body, eventually your hands will come down, then you can go for that knockout. When you constantly putting pressure on the defense, getting in that lane, forcing the issue, as Coach Chaney would say, stop the bleeding, meaning get to the foul line. Slowly but surely, teams fade. And Isaiah Thomas and Boston Celtics are slowly but surely hitting Washington with some body blows.
Former Temple Owl Marc Jackson with us. So, Marc, it's no secret that Boston has no real rim protector. Why won't the Wizards attack the rim more? Why aren't they doing that?
I just feel as though that right now they're relying on John Wall being a one-man fast break, which you can't blame him. Him being a one-man fast break, Bradley Beal coming off screens. I don't think right now Otto Porter's just selling. I don't think right now they're being aggressive. And every game plan change. The NBA coaches are highly paid. They're very intelligent in the game. I'm quite sure they're watching reviews and watching videos like, hey, we can't rely on John just to get it going. How about when you get it, Porter, you attack the rim. Marquise, get a little dirty work, get some points inside that paint. How about we start getting more aggressive on our end to make the referees kind of blow the whistle, draw some fouls, to kind of put Boston at the other end, because Boston, they got Kelly, the big guy in the middle. They got Horford. They don't have shot blocking either. Either team has solidified as having major shot blocking. So both teams can put their head down and attack the rim and look to get fouled or scored, because it can work on both ways. Now, the series is about to make a turn going to Washington. Don't be surprised if they just make a complete 360 or 180 and Washington starts getting to the rim and getting fouled.
Many people, Mark, thought that Washington could give Cleveland the biggest run. You heard Mike talk about that as we were bringing you on here, that the Wizards might be the one that would give Cleveland the run for their money. Is it now Boston, in your mind, that has the best chance to knock off LeBron and the Cavs?
I really don't think. Respectfully, I think both teams are going to give the Cleveland a pretty good run, but I think overall, I think the ability of John Wall to be literally a one-man fast break with his end-to-end speed on makes and misses, which is very different. On a made shot, he can get the ball out of bounds and get to the rim within 3.5 seconds. That's amazing. I think John Wall being able to do that. I think Marquise Morris doing a little dirty work. Gortat being an imposing offensive and defensive threat for Washington. I still think Washington gives the better hand, a tougher opponent for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Let's look at Cleveland against the Raptors. Is this series as good as done for you? I mean, the Raptors last year, 6 games, gave them a fight. Now they look like they've regressed.
They have. I think they've been struggling, and it was a scary moment last night with Kyle Lowry going down, getting his knees buckled. That was very scary. Watching that, DeRozan starting the game 0 for 9. He can't seem to get his mid-range game going. And then the few times he attacked the rim, it was a good job by Cleveland to jump straight up vertically and not giving the benefit of doubt of going in and giving them body contact to get to the foul line. Cleveland did a great job when DeRozan decided not to settle for the mid-range to actually get to the rim. Cleveland defenders did a wonderful job of jumping vertically straight up in the air, which didn't force the referee to call his foul. So it made it very hard for DeRozan to get going. And Serge Ibaka has to find a way to give him some more points on the paint, be a better rim protector for the Toronto Raptors. But, when you put all that together, 1 + 1 = 2. But when you got LeBron James, that's like there's no math equation that can handle 6'9", 260 coming down the lane like a bolt of lightning, and quick enough on the defensive end to not let opposing offensive threats get to the rim. I mean, it's just hard to put any kind of equation you want to put together to help your ball club. You can't sum up the fact of LeBron James. You just can't.
We're talking with Marc Jackson here, and, you look at LeBron James. Is this the best LeBron has played? I mean, people question, is he getting older? Is he slowing down? Is he getting better? Is this the best we've seen from LeBron?
His coach said it so eloquently the other night, is we're looking at the real-life Benjamin Buttons. I mean, this gentleman, he's gotten bigger since he came to the NBA. He's gotten strong. He's gotten faster. I mean, at his age, and he's not slowing down. I mean, that's a scary sight. And you know what's the bad thing about all this? We have witnessed the greatness of LeBron James. So these great games he's having to us, we're used to seeing it from him. But he's doing it consistently. It's not 35 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists tonight, and then 10 points and 2 assists. Every game has been consistent, outstanding play by LeBron James. And as fans, as the media, we're so used to seeing it that it doesn't surprise us that he's doing these things, and we're kind of taking it for granted. We're witnessing greatness with this guy. We're witnessing real-life Benjamin Button. I mean, it's just watching as a basketball fan enthusiast, I'm loving every minute of it.
A lot of people questioned the Cavaliers defensively when they entered the playoffs. Have those questions been answered, or have they not really needed to ratchet up their defense?
I think that's a little mixture of both, to be honest. I think I think Toronto is struggling offensively. Kyle Lowry he's been putting up some pretty good numbers, but consistently from first quarter to the fourth quarter, he hasn't been able to give him that 1-2 punch like they've had all season with him and DeRozan. And Serge Ibaka hasn't really been very as effective as they was hoping he would on the offensive end for the Toronto Raptors. So Cleveland hasn't really been having to ratchet it up and show what they're really capable of. So I really don't think they've been tested so far offensively. So Cleveland's defense have been pretty good, but I think it hasn't been asked to turn the volume up like it will eventually in a long. And now the series going back to Toronto. Toronto's going to play better because Toronto, the North, as they call themselves, has some of the best fans in the NBA. So Toronto's going to start that game 3 off at full force, ready to give Cleveland. Cleveland's going to have to turn their defense up tremendously because I think DeRozan's going to start off big, and Kyle Lowry's going to do what he does, being a Philadelphia murder, and he's going to come with heart and grit.
They're going to need it.
He's going to have to show us something.
Yeah, they're going to need it down 2-0. Cavaliers, Raptors, Boston, Washington. Western Conference, we're talking with Marc Jackson, one of your former team, the Warriors. Interesting because this one is a contrast of styles. The Jazz want to hold the ball as long as possible, run the shot clock. They take the least amount of shots in the league. The Warriors, all they do is want to shoot. Golden State handled them in Game 1. No George Hill tonight for the Jazz in Game 2. Can the Jazz style make this a series?
Yes, styles make fights. And as another boxing phrase, So I do think it's just the will. The will can Utah not just slow the tempo, but when you slow that tempo, you want to get either a wide open look or you want to get fouled. There's no in between. That's all you want. You want to move the ball, get your good motion offense, get a stifle tower, Rudy Gobert setting picks and diving to the rim, getting help, and when they help off of him because he's a tremendous finisher, finding that skip pass and hitting a wide open shot, or Joe Johnson, Gordon Hayward, getting to the foul line, getting to the paint, kind of slowing that. That also works to their advantage. So it's not just about slowing the tempo, but it's about slowing the tempo and getting one of two things, a wide open shot or a foul.
Yeah, and Curry, by the way, good to go for Game 2 tonight against the Jazz. He said his ankle issue is nothing to worry about. Right now, Golden State, even if they lose one of those guys, they seem like they're okay to go, deep into these playoffs or even further, without one of the guys. But what would be the way for the Warriors to not make it to the finals?
You know what? That juggernaut known as the Golden State Warriors, they're just a well-fueled machine, but I think they have some things playing against them. I think Kevin Durant with his nicks and his bumps, in and out the lineup, them refs him. Not Steph tweaked his ankle, but he seemed to be good to go. I think Steve Kerr, him not being on the bench, him being in the locker room, and him not being able to go. I think when times get tough, you look for a familiar face, and they have a great assistant coach and coaching staff that does great things, and then Steve Kerr back in the locker room on occasions. But I think that steady, consistent thing of looking at the bench, look at Coach Kerr, I think that can have effect when times get tough. You have all that talent, but talent is nothing if you can't put it together, and that's what a coach's job is, to put it together and make it work. So I think the only thing that can derail them from getting to the finals, the Warriors, is when Utah pushes them, or wherever they get in the West Conference Finals, if they make it that far, push them, and you need a play with a few minutes left. Who are you going to run it through? What type of offense you're going to run at that given time to make it work, to make the system work, to see who people going to be happy with that? Is Draymond Green going to get mad and say, well, I don't like that play? Or is Clay going to get mad? Why should I touch the ball? And then that's when you're not having Steve Kerr on your bench. That might work against you because you don't have that consistency of Steve Kerr being there, and when he might know how to handle that in those situations. That's the only thing I can see derail them from getting to the finals.
Marc Jackson with us, and yeah, that's interesting, Mark, that more people haven't brought that up, almost like they take Steve Kerr for granted as we talk a little NBA playoffs here and what could possibly or potentially derail the Warriors as they run through their postseason series. You find that a little interesting, though, that maybe people take Steve Kerr for granted?
Of course. I think people taking Steve Kerr for granted because they feel, they got Steph and Kevin Durant. They're okay. No, that don't mean nothing, man. Because there's so many different personalities in the locker room that a coach has to manage. It's not just about rolling the ball out and letting them go figure it out themselves. No, at certain situations in the course of the game, when things get tight, you must know how to make all those personalities work. Okay? You have to. So with Steve Kerr not being there, I really believe that can play a part. People are taking him for granted because people say, oh, they got two of the top 3 best players in the NBA. So what? If that's the case, why NBA teams have coaches? Why do NFL teams have coaches? Let the players coach themselves. That can never work. You need a coach who not just know X's and O's, but know personalities and how to manage personalities. So, yes, people take Steve Kerr for granted. And I think that, to say the least, they haven't really been tested. But when the testing is needed, you need a steady figure on that bench who can help work things out. And I think that's when people appreciate more what Steve Kerr has brought to this organization last couple of years.
Since we're talking Western Conference, Mark, we're with Marc Jackson. The scenario that everyone envisioned, that's probably taken a big hit. Spurs announced that Tony Parker will miss the rest of the postseason with a ruptured left quadriceps tendon. How does that injury change that Spurs-Rockets series?
You know, Tony Parker has been up and down this season. A lot of people say his age is starting to show him a mano. That may be the case, but he is still Tony Parker. He is still a leader. He's still a veteran who's been in that locker room, who's been through all the ups and downs since his entry into the NBA with Coach Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. Tony Parker is a very valuable piece. No matter what his numbers may say, his steadiness, like we spoke with Steve Kerr, his steadiness, his ability to be a leader out there, to put people in a place, to show them what they need to be, that he's a true consummate point guard. So for him to miss the season, and let's not just talk about the season, that quadriceps tear is a major injury. He's up in age. Will he ever return? That's another question, but let's worry about the postseason now. That's got to hurt them. Now, Patty Mills, who is a tremendous player, is not the leader that Tony Parker is. He's a tremendous player. He's scoring. He's shooting the ball very well, but he's not that leader that Tony Parker is. So that's going to hurt them. They might end up playing Anderson, the second or third year player out of UCLA, a little bit of backup point behind Patty Mills. So, and you know, you can always get a ball to Kawhi Leonard. You know, he's always going to make the right play. But Tony Parker's presence on that court is going to hurt them a little bit, and they're going to struggle against Houston, who's shooting lights out. Even though the bearded one didn't have his best game last night, they still got a lot of people. And Williams, how about Lou Williams, former Sixer, only having 4 points? I mean, that's you know, that kind of helped the Spurs also last night. But let's give it props for this due. Kawhi Leonard and the San Antonio Spurs pulled that victory off, but they're going to need everybody to step up even more. Even with Aldridge, with his performance going up and down, not being consistent, you know, that's going to play a part too. He has the people now questioning his health. Is he 100% healthy? Whatever it is, if he has a uniform on and he's on that court, he got to perform. And now with Tony Parker out, he's got to perform even higher.
Yeah, and Harden did not have his best game. It's obvious that if he doesn't play well, they're in trouble.
They're in trouble. He's the fuel. He's the fuel to that fire. You need him to distribute. And you know what's funny? Because I was talking to somebody about this the other day, is when I sit back and watch Houston, I feel like I'm watching, it's me trying to switch out when Steve Nash is in Phoenix, and I'm guarding the Phoenix, and we worked on switching. So I'm guarding Steve Nash. I got to keep him from going in the paint, get up from floaters. But if he does settle and hit the three in my face, then I can come out and he goes by me. He creates for another player. I really think compared to Phoenix, Houston has much more many shooters than the old Phoenix Suns have, but the system is the same. Just like Phoenix needed Steve Nash to make that system work,
right?
Houston needs Harden to get it going to make that system work.
Marc Jackson, of course, former NBA player, Sixers pre- and post-game live. The Sixers draft, we'll get into that stuff in a couple of weeks here as well. Right after the NBA playoffs is the NBA draft on June the 22nd. So right at the conclusion, they go right from finals right into draft. So we'll do some more draft stuff down the line as well. Marc, enjoy the playoff games, pal.
Oh, I will. You guys too. Thanks for having me, guys.